Okay, let me, is there anything up there you're looking at like, I don't understand, explain it to me, please?
What are stand your ground laws?
Right. Hershey's, Kit Kats?
You don't have any Reese's?
Nope. What you need? I have Kit Kats and Hershey's.
Kit Kats? Yeah, I do Kit Kats. How much money do you need?
He's close. He's only like 200 short, something like that. So that's only 800 more candy things to sell. Okay, right. So in some states, somebody comes into your house through the window. There's the door, and outside the door is your running car, because it's the middle of winter, you started your car up to get it warm, okay? In some states, including Wisconsin, you have to flee. You have to flee, if that's an option. But there are other states where you don't. You don't have to flee. In fact, and there are some states where he could break in, steal that mag, and as he's escaping out the window, I can shoot him in the back. That's perfectly legal. The question is, should it be legal? Okay. If there is an escape route, should you be required to choose that escape route, or can you stand your ground and not flee, confront that person, kill that person, and argue, hey, self-defense? Can you use self-defense even if escape is a perfectly viable option?
And what if your family's upstairs?
Yes. Oh, there's no doubt if your family's upstairs, what this is saying is, but what if they're all waiting in the van and you're the only one in the house and all he wants is your map, and he's leaving? Shoot him in that. Can I do that? In some states, yes, absolutely.
In Wisconsin?
Not Minnesota. Wisconsin, I don't know. I know in Minnesota, an old man in northern Minnesota waited in his basement. He knew the teenagers were upstairs, and he waited in the basement with a shotgun, and he set it up so that whoever would come down the stairs first would trip. So she tripped, the teenage girl tripped. They were there just screwing around, having a party. She tripped, he shot her point blank, and then her boyfriend came down. He tripped, he then took the gun, put it right here, and shot. And he was convicted. And he argued, stand your ground, my house. And they said, no. You executed those people.
Pretty sure in Wisconsin, if someone is on your property, they break in forcefully, that you can kill them.
You might read. I really don't know. Okay, so name and on a piece of paper, and you shall. What do you want?
Let me find one to get.
You want to be in charge of being able to shoot someone who breaks in? It sounded like a weak yes, but I'll take it.
Yes.
Last Kit Kat. Two Hershey's left if anybody wants them. That's it.
Once you make the ball.
He's still, what did I say, about 200 short. He needed to raise about $2,000.
You're pretty good.
I know. I don't even know. Which one do you want? Oh, yeah. You're just gonna rip some off. That's cool. Yeah.
Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 of you. There's 7 options. That's 2 to 3 per topic, okay? So that's what we're gonna stick with. Notice, by the way, I'm not requiring that you take the yes or the no side. Your own presentation, you can address both sides if you want, and then ultimately choose a winner, or you can simply focus on the yes side or the no side. Also, recognize this. You can do a slideshow on Google Slides, great. I'm not requiring it. Your presentation could be you just kind of looking it up, and then from your desk, you are making the arguments. Okay, that receives a lower grade than a presentation. If you make, thanks. Does everyone have their name in here? Yes? Okay. If you make a presentation and you get up here and you have the guts to present it to the class, you will receive more than the total points possible. Right? It's out of 20, you'll get up to 25. 25 out of 20. Now, for those of you who haven't done all that well, here's your chance. Here's your chance to fix things. Okay? If you make a presentation, but you don't present it to the class, you instead just present it to me, you'll still get credit, but you're not going to get full credit. It's still fine. If you look up the information and then from your desk without a presentation, present it. Again, you'll get some credit, not full credit, because you didn't use technology to present your information. Okay, everyone understand? So when's this due? Column 1 is due not next week. I want you to not even remember what sociology is when you have 2 days off this week. Did you know you have Thursday and Friday off? Okay. Yeah. So not next week, but the week after. So 2 weeks from today, column 1. 3 weeks from today, column 2. 2 weeks from today, 3 weeks from today. You're all going one more time. Okay. This is, of course, in addition to those of you who still haven't presented me your previous topic. It's still there, sitting there at 0. You can fix that. Okay. Now, let's see. Crime. 1, 2, 3, 4. And race. 1, 2, 3. And then, Peter, you said you had which one again? Number 1. Okay, so Peter gets number 1 for crime because he's writing about it. Isn't that true for you too? Aren't you number 2?
Oh yeah, number 2.
Number 2. Okay. So he's got that one. Is there anyone else who you're writing about one of these? Which one? There is no standard ground. Okay. You cannot shoot someone fleeing from your property with your stolen TV. You cannot shoot them in the leg.
What if they're like?
If they're threatening you,
Yeah.
then yes, that's not stand your ground.
Okay.
All right.
What are you supposed to do then if they're running away through TV?
Call the cops.
Can you like tackle them and be like, "That's my TV, please no"? Okay, so you're saying after warning shot 1, the next one goes in his leg?
Okay, Bailey, did you say you had one?
What?
Marbles on the stairs.
Yeah.
No, I mean, are you writing about one of these?
What?
Is your paper going to be about one of these?
No.
What I'm asking is there anybody out there who's writing about one of these? If it's true, you get it. Take that back. Unsay what you said.
Yeah, I said it.
Yes, your paper, the paper you're writing for this class. Okay, so you're telling me that Peter and Andrew, that's it. Oh, great. All right, here we go. 3 names per, up to 3 names per topic. Here we go. Mayor. Number 2. Okay. That's right. For my purposes, just tell me which column and then what number. So column 2, number 2. Joe.
Number 4. Candidate.
I had a dumb moment and I just put the topic on it and not my name.
Oh, when I see that one, I'll be sure. It says Billy.
Me.
Who's Billy?
Me.
You're Billy?
Well, it's his real name. No.
Your real name is Billy?
No.
Do you want me to call you Billy from now on?
Sure.
Billy. That's the name of our vacuum. We have one of those vacuums that does it, itself.
Oh, the Roombas?
Yeah, we named him Billy. Yeah, Roomba. Yeah. All right, Billy.
Should we please be required to use body cameras?
All right. All of them are still open. Nothing's been closed down. Jacob. Jacob.
Number one, first.
Okay. Ridley.
Oh, Wait, what are those current standings for number 1 and number 4?
Number 1 is 2. Number 4 is 1.
I will go with 1.
All right. So number 1 is now closed. Number 1 on crime is now closed. No more picking that one. Cade.
Crime debates, number 3.
Number 3. Cora. All right, so crime, body cameras, closed. 3 people signed up for that one. No more. Carissa, Rose. That's number 2. All right, so number 2, column 1 is closed. Jeffrey.
Number 3 on the debate. Great debate.
Number 3, hate crime. That one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, very good. And Allie. Kai. Yep. Okay, column 1 is completely closed. Everything else is now race. Andrew. Oh, yeah. Forgot. Tommy. Number 3. Jasmine. All right. Number 3 is now closed. So the only ones available now are race debate number 1 or number 2. And there's 2 names left. Should police be required? What do you want?
I don't know.
Way to stop it.
Even 3.
Between 1 and 2.
Oh, I don't know, I guess 1.
And what would AJ like? 1 or 2 under race?
Go to.
I'm kind of surprised because, I mean, I kind of agree with you. It's kind of the lightest one of the load, but it's also the easiest to understand. Kind of surprised it lasted that long, but that's fine.
What? I'll switch, number 2. And they want to switch, I'll take his. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Can we talk about like college schools too?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that's the main one. So like the North Dakota,
Yeah, sure.
the Fighting Sioux.
Yeah.
But now they're called the Warhawks or
Yeah.
Warhawks. Okay. All right, so here's what I got. Peter, Jacob, and Ridley. Is capital punishment necessary? In parentheses is what you'd be looking for on SIRS. Okay, that's what, when you click view all issues, what's in parentheses is what you look at. And then number 2, Andrew, Tabitha, and Carissa are gun control. Number 3, Bailey, Cade, Cora are doing police. Should they be required to use body cameras? On the face of it, that would seem like an obvious yes. Well, what possible argument could there be for arguing that police should not be required to use body cameras, but you'd be surprised how things can get complicated. Most police visits are usually husband and wife arguing. You want the body camera on to record all that? What if it ends up being nothing? But now they recorded all of it. Now that's in police hands. It gets complicated. What if they go to your house and they knock on the door? Now remember, now the cameras are on, and they enter your door, and the cop comes into your room full of pet snakes, that stuffed pet snakes, and the cop looks at you like, you are one weird dude, right? And now they all know you're weird, right? And you might think, well, big deal, but the cop's best friend is the principal, and you're a teacher. And so he picks up the phone and says, you might want to know something about that history teacher that you employ. He likes pet snakes that are stuffed. And then suddenly you're out of a job, not because of anything you did illegally, but because you're weird. All right. So it does get into some questionable situations. Okay. Allie, Kai, and AJ, stand your ground laws. It's under criminal justice. And then on race, should racial profiling be used? Abby, do you know what racial profiling is? Well, you're going to find out. Controversial mascots, should they be banned? So North Dakota Fighting Sioux, Washington Redskins. I mean, that's probably the most glaring one. I mean, I don't see too many teams from New York called the Harlem Negroes, right? You just like, oh God, right? The Tokyo Japs are going to come and it's like, oh no, and yet we have the Washington Redskins. That's a name given to Native Americans by whites. They didn't call themselves Redskins. It was a name they gave them, and yet it's the name of a professional football team, right? So that's the most glaring one. Okay, and then finally, hate crime. Do we even need hate crime legislation? Why is it that when a husband kills a wife, that's one type of crime, but if a white guy kills a black guy, that's a whole other level? Well, why? The thing is, this person killed this person. What difference does it make what the motive is? But that's what hate crime is. Hate crime is motive matters. And some murders are more important than other murders. And maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe there isn't a good reason for that. Yes? Exactly. Is that a hate crime? I don't think so. Actually, legally, I don't think gender is one of the categories. Race, religion, sexual orientation, I believe, are the three.
So what if you killed like a transgender woman?
I think that falls under that third one,
What's the
right?
difference?
Well, that's a good question. What if I hate all juniors? Am I guilty of hate crime legislation? No. So if I go on a killing spree and kill black people, and my brother goes on a killing spree and kills freshmen, I am in more trouble than he is because I committed a crime spree that violates that law, hate crimes. And you might think, okay, think about the history of our country. We don't exactly have too many freshman killings. That's silly to think that that's a thing, but we definitely have people killed based on race or gender or something like that. Go ahead.
So going to the example you just said, so say if you killed all the black people and then, I don't know, your brother, did you say, or your friend or whatever?
I don't remember.
They killed all the freshmen. What if some of the freshmen were different like races or religions? Does that file under it, or does the whole like category of freshmen like disqualify that for hate crime legislation?
Yeah, hate crime is crimes based on race,
Okay.
religion, sexual orientation. I think those are the three.
Evidence that they're murdered.
Very good.
on
So
those
it's
traits.
difficult to prove, isn't it? That would be difficult to prove. You have to get into the head of the perpetrator. You have to figure out why you did this. Now, maybe there's evidence. Maybe I wrote raving lunatic letters expressing my hatred of, who was it, juniors? Jews or whatever. Go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay. Anyone else?
Wait, why don't they just make the like definition of a hate crime just like any crime like done like
That's
malicious
fine.
intent and like instead of making
I'll explain to you the history of this. The reason it exists is because of Jim Crow laws in the South. So Jim Crow laws in the South after the Civil War up to about the mid-1960s prevented any black person from being on a jury. So an all-white jury was what you faced if you were accused of a crime in a southern state. Well, a whole lot of blacks were lynched by KKK, and those people would be arrested and accused of killing black people, and they'd come into the jury room or the courtroom and look at that. Look at who's my jury. Bunch of white boys. And they'd be found not guilty. And so the federal government in the 1960s said, this isn't right. Southern states are getting away with murder. And so what we're going to do is we're going to hold these people accountable because southern states are not holding them accountable. How do we do that? Without violating this thing called double jeopardy. Double jeopardy. You can't be put on trial twice for the same crime. You can't. Once a jury finds you guilty, that's it. It's over. Aha, but what if we create another type of crime? Another type of crime for the same action. It's the same action. It's just another type of crime. That's what a hate crime is. Anyone else? Question?
Is there a real reason why you have the double jeopardy?
Yes, it's because in Europe, where so many of our laws are reactions against what they did in Europe back when our ancestors were European. What they do is they'd find a jury, put you on trial, and then when the jury found you not guilty, convene a new jury. And they'd just keep putting you on trial until eventually a jury would find you guilty. Then they'd cut off your head. And so they thought, well, that doesn't seem fair. That they just keep finding new juries until they get a verdict that they like. That doesn't seem fair. So no more. Anyone else? Good questions, right? So let's think about what's on your plate as far as this class is concerned, which I fully acknowledge is an elective that you did not have to take, but you did. I'm delighted that you all did. But what's on your plate right now? Well, number one, there's a test on extremist groups that's on Kia that's due tomorrow. Due, right? How many of you have done that and gotten a score that you are satisfied with? Okay. Great. For the rest of yous, you should do that. It goes into Kia. The Kia score goes into Infinite Campus at the end of the day tomorrow. Now, again, that doesn't mean that that's it for you. If you don't do it until next week, that's fine. But just understand that it's going to be a 0 until you do it, which would make some of your parents angry. You want to avoid that anger? Take care of it before tomorrow. Okay. You can take it multiple times. Why not take it once before tomorrow? Then at least there's a score and then retake it. Fine. No problem. Okay. Here's something else that's on your plate. You should have by now completed 2 article summaries for your paper. That was due last Friday. Some of you haven't done that. That's still a thing. Article summary number 3 is this week. Now it's due Friday. You don't have school Friday. You don't have school Thursday, but it's still due that Friday. So you should be through article summary number 3, which would be the first article for the other side, right? Supposedly by now, you've read 2 articles that argue yes to whatever your question is. Yes and yes. Now you're reading the first article for the no side and answering questions 1 through 12 as best as you can. That's all I'm asking, as best as you can for Friday. And this. Now you have this. The good news is there's really not that much more coming after this. This is it. There might be a few more like tests or something like that. But as far as loading you with stuff to do, not really too much left. Yes, sir.
That Kia
test room that's due,
Extremist tests? Yep.
it's on queue.
Is that cute? It's called extremists test, right? Anyone else?
When were we supposed to take that? Was that last week?
That was last, I think I made it available Friday of last week. Yes?
Are we doing that question where it's like the presentations correlated?
No, there were hardly any presentations, so.
Okay.
What's the point? Okay, give me a sec. Anyone need this for another second? Maybe take your phone and take a picture of it so you know what your topic is and you know what to look up on SIRS. My recommendation is SIRS. You're not required to do SIRS though. For some of you, another excellent website is called procon.org. Really good website. Really easy to use. Start there if you want. Okay, give me a few minutes to attack some things, and then I'll give you the rest of the hour to kind of just think about maybe attack that test. I don't have computers available here directly, but many of you have your phones, and some of you need to run get a computer there. What we are now going to be attacking for the next 2 to 3 weeks is deviant behavior. Deviant behavior outside of the norm. And it's kind of interesting to figure out, like, okay, if deviant behavior is behaving in a way that is acceptable to the norm, what if the norm is polygamy? What if you're in a community in the middle of nowhere, Utah, where you're supposed to have multiple wives? Are you a deviant? If you have multiple wives in that area in remote Utah, are you a deviant? Well, it's hard to say because the community itself would be a deviant community. It is acting in a way outside of the norms of the country that it's in. So the community would be deviant, but you wouldn't be. Or how about this? If you're a criminal, are you a deviant? Throw out an answer here. If you're a criminal, if you steal things, are you a deviant?
According to the law.
According to the law, exactly. So law is a way to get you to act in a not deviant way. Okay, so you're a deviant, right? But what if you're in prison? That's who you're with. If you are a deviant and you are in a crowd of deviants, are you a deviant? Aha, so now in that, no, you wouldn't be. In that situation, the roles are reversed. To be a deviant is the acceptable thing. To be a crime avoiding person is to be a deviant in that situation, right? You can get all lost in this stuff. So anyway, we are going to be engaging in deviant behavior. So let's think about this question. Just take 10 seconds right now. Why, answer this question. Why do you behave? Good. Why do you do that? Right now I'm sitting with 17 students and you are anywhere from 15, 16, 17 years old. Anyone 18 yet? 18? Why are you sitting here? It's beautiful outside. Why are you here? So, think about it. Anyone have an answer? Why are you here? Go ahead. Give us one.
Education.
Okay, so AJ is here because of some self-interest. You're here because I want to learn. Is that right? Which is very impressive.
Well,
Is it true? Don't be shy.
somewhat.
Awesome. Okay. So AJ is here because he truly wants to learn about deviant behavior. Wow. Anyone else? Thomas, why are you here? He doesn't know. Yes.
Because the law requires it.
Law, right? If you get up and leave the school can fine you, can fine your parents. You have to be here. Man, get to Minnesota. You can drop out when you're 16. Then you can make it big. We all know that this school is what's holding some of you back, right? And really, you should be big time. But this stupid school is really, holding you back. You're that horse, and the school's like, whoa, boy. Otherwise, see you later. All right, the law. Anyone else? Why are you here? Do any of you find this class kind of interesting?
Yes.
It's all right, so maybe you're looking forward to the next meltdown that's gonna happen in here, right? Okay, I am, right? It's fun. Any of you, you don't have to answer this, but are any of you, you all seem like nice people in here. I don't think I've had a problem with any of you, discipline-wise, not him once in a while. But he's a nice fella. Are all of you like this all day? Why not? What's the difference? I'm not picking on you, but I saw you shake your head.
There's different people at different times and they have emotions.
Okay. Do any of you have like favorite teachers and not favorite teachers? Are any of you mean to teachers during the day? You're never. That's delightful. Do any of you push it with some staff? Why? What do you get out of it? You want to see them lose their cool? True story. When I was a junior, Tim and I graduated number 2. Tim graduated number 3. We were in a class, medieval history, and the teacher was a moron. She did not know what she was talking about, and Tim and I would take turns each day asking her a question that we knew she had no idea what the answer was. But just to see her sweat, we'd say things like, yeah, isn't it true that the Romans were actually the first people to land on the moon? Thousands of years ago. And she would be like, there's research on that, and she didn't know anything. It was fun. Okay, any other argument? Why do you behave? Why does it? So law, fear, punishment, in other words. Do any of you get a reward from your parents if you get an A? You get a financial reward. So maybe that has a motivation. Very good. So there's the carrot, right? The carrot and stick approach, right? Here's a bunny. How do I get bunny to jump from here to here? Well, one is to put a carrot right there. Yum, reward. And another one is to whack it until it jumps over there. Get over there. Ah! Ah! And eventually, all right. Okay. Both ways get bunny from here. I saw him.
Well, you got like a record, and if you skip school, get an absent. If you drop out of school, you dropped out, and that kind of just stays with you. So it's like part of your reputation.
Sort of part of your reputation. Very good. By the way, I'm talking to you and you. Why are you two here?
Well,
Why are you two here? Why are you here?
Baseball.
Yes, right? Oh, you do. I'm dreaming. I didn't know, right? I have a son, Noah, right? Decent baseball player. Not the most motivated kid ever. Sound familiar to anybody in here? Okay. Boy, once baseball started though, his grades, 2 of his classes went up a full grade once baseball started. Okay. He did not want to miss baseball, right? That's one reason I love athletics, right? It gets kids motivated. Go ahead.
One of the reasons I think kids behave is because we want to be seen as normal by our peers. We don't want to stand out too much. So, I don't know, if we act out a lot, people start seeing us differently. We don't want to.
Very good. The herd mentality. Excellent. Everybody? Okay, let me just show you some things. Let's think about this. You all have families. Sociologists suggest, by the way, that this is the most normal family on television. That this is the way it really is, right? How does your family, this is just a question for you to think about, how do your mom and dad get you to behave? We already know that Jeffrey gets a financial reward for every A. That's cool, right? Do any of you get grounded? Is that a punishment? Okay. Do any of you get your phone taken away, your car keys taken away, the console to your game station taken away, sent to your room for a timeout? Okay. I don't even know, what do parents do these days? To punish or reward, either one. Yells? Okay, good. Anybody else? By raising your hand, I'm not suggesting that that's what happens in your house. You're just saying, oh, I bet this happens somewhere. Go ahead.
Makes you do chores and stuff.
Chores, okay, right? I think that's. Okay, very good. Sorry, take away stuff. Clothing, gotta go around naked?
No.
No
Okay.
clothing for a week.
Do you think that it's possible that in other societies, the punishments are radically different? I would point out one thing, that whatever your answer is, fine. I really don't want to see your answer, but how many of you were spanked? Growing up, I was spanked one time by my dad. I remember. One time. What did I do? We were at church, and I was, this big, and he let me stand on the pew, and then I felt like being a little piece of turd, and I jumped off, and I ran up and down the church. And he just gave me the look of death, as in, it's coming, it's coming. And I saw him, and I thought, it's coming, but might as well ride this wave. Might as well enjoy it while I can. And I got whooped. Okay, that's the only time I've ever been spanked. Yeah. How many of you have been spanked? Do you think spanking is an effective way to parent? Or are you creating a worse situation? Do you want your kid to fear you as a parent? And maybe some of you do. That's just something to think of. Any other thoughts about families, how families get you to behave? How about, how do your friends get you to behave a certain way? Right? This, by the way, can be positive, negative. Think about, you're all at that one place, and there's the kid with the doobie or the cigarette or the beer or whatever. And how do your peers get you to do something even though you don't want to do it? Go ahead.
They all do it.
Right, and you want to be part of the group. The number one fear of people your age is being ignored, not being picked on. People your age would rather be picked on than ignored, because at least you're paying attention. The worst thing is to isolate. That is the worst, right? They've done these studies where they show playgrounds, school playgrounds, and the bully is picking on this kid, and why doesn't the kid just walk away? Well, just go over there. But nope, the kid turns around and is in the realm of the bully again. So then the bully pushes him down. Walk over there. Nope. Gets right back up and is in the bully's face. Because at least you're paying attention. I understand. Any other thoughts? How do your friends get you to behave?
Friends?
Peers. Okay, we'll revisit that later. How about institutions? How did this school get you to behave? What could happen to you if you don't? What happens to you if you do? Okay, again, both ways. What's the carrot? What's the stick? What is the carrot in this building, and what is the stick in this building? Go ahead.
I'd say that if you take certain classes, you can graduate with college credit. So the motivation to pass those classes.
Very good, right? There is a motivation to do well academically because there are upper level courses in this building, but you don't have access to those classes unless you do well when you're younger. How many of you, again, I'm not asking for you to raise your hands, but how many of you look back at your freshman year and think, God, that was dumb, right? Why did I blow that year? Yeah, I think that's common. I've suggested for years that they should just not count your GPA freshman year. Every class, pass, fail. Pass, fail. Because you're morons when you're freshmen. You can't help it. And that building, in my opinion, no one's fault, but does not get you ready for this building. It doesn't. It doesn't get you ready for this building. Absolutely. No, another video won't be used. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. How does this building get you to behave? What are the carrots? What are the sticks? Go ahead. Hey, don't you want that diploma? Don't you want to walk across the stage and have grandma and grandpa applaud? Don't you want to wear the funny looking hat and the tassels that are in your face? Wear all the medals? And don't you want that? That's the point. That's the reason we do it, is so to create an artificial carrot, right? Those of you that graduate summa cum laude, you get a certain colored thing around, skull around it, and magna's a different color, and if you graduate with a 3.4 or higher, you get a rope around your neck. I mean, if you think about it, who cares? It's a rope around your neck, which is generally a bad thing. get it, a yellow cord. Okay, anything else? Carrot or stick?
You fail if you don't.
Good, right? The F grade. Think about the idea of letter grades. That's all incentive. It's an incentive-based grading system. Anyone else? What happens to you if you're naughty? What happens if you're naughty?
Whole, keeping your record, you know? It's
Yep.
like all credit.
Follows you. Good, very good.
You get called out during class.
Called up by teachers, right? Good. Yep.
It actually, like, if you don't pass high school, it actually cripples your ability to live, because a lot of jobs, if you don't have a high school diploma. you won't
Increasingly,
get.
that's true. It's called credentialism, right? You need that label, high school graduate. If you're not even a high school graduate, some doors are shut to you. Now, that doesn't mean that life's hopeless. Anybody else? Anyone been suspended? Temporarily? Any of you had lunch and learn? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Lunch and learn? It's all motive based, right? It's based on getting you to behave a certain way.
I don't really understand suspension, so.
Yeah, if you hate school, yeah.
Suspended.
Suspended for being tardy, well,
How does this school get me to behave? Right? I'm an employee of this institution. I am part of a bureaucracy. How do they get me to behave a certain way? I mean, I would rather be talking about the twins right now. Yeah. What? Don't you like the twins? No, because there's a way that the school gets me to talk, although I love talking sociology. How do they do it? Yes.
well, I mean, they give you money for doing your job, and
Hey.
if you don't, they cut it off.
That's right, pay. And there are ways that this building, the staff in this building, I am now, this is hard to believe, but I believe I am now number 2 in the entire building as far as length of time here. I believe Larson's gotten by a few years, but I think I'm number 2.
How many?
This is my 25th year.
Really?
Yeah, what do you think?
I didn't mean it like that.
Okay, the staff is unbelievably different now than it was even 5 years ago. Not all those people retired. Some were sort of encouraged to like, go away. And the school can do that, right? Hey, I can be suspended. We had a teacher 3 years ago who was suspended. Heck, we had a teacher 2 years ago and he's not here anymore. What happened to that guy? No one knows. He's just gone. Where is he?
Suspended, never came back.
You talking about Mr. Keeper?
No, Mr.
Oh my God, I forgot about Keeper.
That was last year.
I wasn't even talking about him.
That was last
When you
year.
get suspended, you think you just.
Hey, what are you talking
Who
about?
knows?
Who knows? I don't see him anymore.
Who was 1 2 years ago?
Okay, laws. Give me some punishments that are typical laws. Like, if you break the law, what could happen to you? Prison?
Fine.
Fine. Anything else? Sorry? Community service, very good. Yep, that's true.
Tarnish the record.
Yep, goes on your record.
I don't remember what it's called, but the inability to travel to certain places.
That's true. In certain situations, they can prevent you from leaving. That is exactly right. But that's right. Drunk driving, say goodbye to your license. Go ahead.
Capital punishment.
Yeah, ultimately capital punishment. How about this? Capital punishment is not legal in Wisconsin. It is also not legal in Minnesota, but it's legal in the United States. So if I kidnap him, take him across the St. Croix River, and then gruesomely murder him, I can be sentenced to die. Even though it's not legal in Wisconsin and it's not legal in Minnesota, because I crossed over a state line, I just violated national law.
Really?
Yes,
That's
capital
how that
punishment is legal in the nation. It happened. A guy in North Dakota crossed over into Minnesota, kidnapped a girl, brought her back to North Dakota, killed her. They found her remains, arrested the guy, sentenced him to death. He's sitting on death row right now in a federal penitentiary, right? A federal prison, a national prison.
Actually, never mind. I'm researching it. I'll probably figure out.
Okay, I just wanted to show you this just to let you understand that in our country, we have a system in place that does not allow pain. Pain is not part of our punishment system. You're sentenced to die, not suffer, then die. And in fact, multiple forms of execution in our country have been declared unconstitutional because they were considered cruel or weird. Unusual. Yep, exactly, right? So, no more hanging. That's considered cruel. Beheading is gross. The French invented beheading as a humane way to go because, before beheading, the main way to go was to be burned at the stake. And so the French thought that's kind of cruel. Let's just chop your head off, right? You do not suffer when there goes your spinal cord. You don't feel a thing. I suppose for that moment, but you don't really feel a thing. They did an experiment, by the way, this is a true story, where they were about to execute a guy and they said, look, when your head's chopped off, blink as often as you can, just so we know, are you alive for a few more seconds? I was like, all right. So they chopped his head off and he blinked a bunch of times. So you're still there for a moment.
You're just like, this is
Yeah, wow. If you're wondering what we're looking at, you don't see the tank that's behind and is about to run over these people. This is a form of execution in China.
Yeah, it was like,
The
dang.
tank is going to run over these people.
That's
What they do.
You know that the United States is about 1/5 the population of China, and we have more people in prison. And that is because China does have prisons, but not nearly as many as we do. And it's because in China, their list of crimes that you can be executed for is a lot longer than ours. They have a bit of a population problem in China. Well, there's one way to solve that problem. You jaywalked, shoot them. That's a bit extreme, but you get the idea. Okay?
Isn't the electric chair not used anymore either?
Yep, the electric chair is considered cruel and unusual.
They use-
How do they keep them out?
The main method is lethal injection. It's called the Kentucky cocktail.
Oh.
Well, the story behind that's kind of fascinating. A person that understands science came up with the ingredients, I guess, at a bar one day, and he wrote it on a napkin. And it is now the preferred method of execution. You're basically injected with three things. The first one puts you to sleep, night. The second one numbs you. The third one stops your heart. So it's considered humane. All right, you don't suffer. Now there's some set of evidence to suggest it doesn't work. That there's, they've injected all three into a person, and the person's like shaking as the third one's going in, which shouldn't be happening. Right? Why are you shaking unless you're in extreme pain or something? The electric chair, you're supposed to shave the person's head first and then douse them with water and then put the sponge on and then put the metal cap on and then 2,000 volts of electricity are injected. But sometimes they'll forget the water, which burns you. You're basically burned alive, right?
Is the Kentucky cocktail any similar to what they use to put animals down? Would it be similar?
Good question. It's 150.
Does they actually run over all those kids with their name?
Yeah. Bye, all. Have a great day.
They walk in.